Hi everyone, this is your framework for your presentation, your report for your final case analysis. It serves purposes for both those assignments. Although they are a little bit different, they still contain the same ingredients. The only thing that is different is the way that these ingredients are prioritized. For example, in your report, you will spend a little more time with respect to your actual analysis, demonstrating the tools that you would have used, because that's a more scientific format, if you will. With your presentation, the audience is really concerned more with your recommendations, with what you actually are proposing to solve the issues that the firm will have. So therefore, you're going to spend more time predominantly discussing your recommendations and less time actually going through the tools that you would have used to come up with the causes that you believe contribute to the issues that you would identify. Your first slide should always be your title, and the title should not just be the name of the organization in which you're analyzing, but it may contain the name. And that is followed by the name of your team and the members in that team. The name of the team should be something that is easy to recall and professional, but not something that's obviously too outlandish. You should always start off with an outline, with some measure of an introduction and an outline. Why? It serves two purposes. One, for the audience, because the audience does not know beforehand what you are going to present. It gives the audience a sort of a roadmap or a pathway in which to follow in order to keep up and to be to remain attentive throughout your entire presentation. But for the presenter, it also serves a purpose. It can help guide you and remain and keep you focused as you go through your entire presentation. Many times people lose that focus and they tend to stray. With an outline, it helps to guide the presenter as well as the audience members. Okay, a good outline for this presentation would be first to define the issue, the major strategic issues that you believe the firm is encountering or will encounter in the future. Then go on to identify and discuss the causes of those issues, what you believe have contributed to actually creating those problems or those challenges for the firm. Then you go on obviously to recommend, you to give their proposals, solutions to address those causes, which in turn will obviously address the issues, and then have a summary or conclusion at the end. The first thing that we want to look at is exactly the firm issues. Here you define actually what the tangible firm issues are. In the first week of your assignment, would have asked you to identify those firm issues. Remember, those issues are different from causes. For example, an issue can be something like a decrease in sales volume that the firm may actually be encountering. Well, that's the issue that the firm has, the problem that the strategic problem the firm must address. The cause of that issue could actually be something like increased competition, or it could be an internal weakness, for example, in customer service. The firm is not really being very attentive to its customers, and therefore because of that issue, because of that internal issue, the firm is losing sales. Consequently as well, the firm can have an increased competition, more firms in the industry, international competition, and that's taking away from the firm's sales. Those are the causes. The issue obviously is decreased sales. Issues can be troubling financial statistics, so things like revenue loss I just discussed, lack of growth, profitability issues, cost issues. There should be a comma between profitability and cost. But it can also be things that are or difficult propositions that the firm is facing. It's actually jeopardizing its integral survival at the present time. Some intense competitive pressure, some change in the economic landscape, some political or legal reform that is actually putting the firm's current existence into question. That's obviously a strategic challenge or an issue. But just beyond finances today, as well as conditions today, the firm might want to position itself in the future to be successful, to be more successful, to actually acquire or even to sustain a competitive advantage. And so there might be challenges or questions or decisions facing the organization as it plans or it positions itself for that future. Now notice I said strategic challenges, and that kind of gets to the next point, where your firm issues should be relatively general. They should encapsulate a large sphere, if you will, and they should be strategic in nature. They should ask strategic types of questions in terms of where the business wants to be, what the business wants to do, how the organization wants to address its conditions, and what kind of resources. All those areas, all those aspects are strategic. They should not be so specific as to seem tactical or operational in terms of just, you know, let's say you assume, or you mention identify the firm issue as you know, poor CEO. Well, it may not be a poor CEO that is the strategic problem. It may be a cultural issue or a leadership issue in terms of the organization. So if you say the problem is a poor CEO, what you've essentially done is limited your flexibility or limited your scope of recommendation. So being too specific in terms of your identification of issues obviously will tend to promote tactical or operational analysis rather than strategic analysis. I will also limit you in terms of what you can recommend. Now, of course, when you get to the recommendation stage, especially when you have to propose an actual proposal to implement, it's going to be somewhat tactical. There are going to be tactical elements in how I'm actually going to implement it, but it should solve a strategic issue, something that is obviously just bigger than that tactical problem. So again, getting the CEO, changing the CEO may address the leadership problem, but it may go beyond that. So you don't want to be too specific in your issue. You want to be a little bit general, but you don't want to be overly ambiguous. You don't want to say an issue the firm is having is competitive sustainability or you know, fulfilling its true potential. I mean, exactly what that means, no one really knows. So you want to be somewhat strategic. You want to be general. Firm has issues in terms of differentiation, you know, promoting its distinctiveness. That can be the firm has, you know, a concern in terms of expansion and where should it grow, should it grow in fact its organization, and where should that growth be. That also gets to that other issue of issues having sub-issues. If I believe a major concern or a future concern for the firm is how in fact we should grow, where you know, should growth or should expansion be expansion should be a major strategic endeavor for this organization. A sub-issue or sub-issues related to that should be where in fact we should grow. Should we get into industries that are very similar or related to our current industry, or do we want to get into different types of businesses, different types of industries that are really not that common to what we already do? Again, these are sub-issues that are related to the more general issue. Again, should we concern should be, you know, should we expand our present geographic location? Should we look towards international markets? And again, if we do look to international, what kinds of international markets and what types of products should we actually, services should we create? So these are sub-issues, and they are linked to the more major issues that you would have identified. And where possible, provide evidence that the issues that you suggest or that you believe exist, that there's some measure of evidence to support that they actually do exist. And of course, if it's a financial type of issue, you can always use financial numbers. But if it isn't, you might want to look at qualitative information, you know, industry experts' sayings, writings, things that again that demonstrate that this problem or this issue is in existence. You know, you use your discretion, but something that you can provide evidence to say, okay, this is a real issue. Okay.